Back here at the Blue Gym inside the campus of Columbia University. We'll get quickly into 184. Ross McFarland or Gavin Profit. If it's McFarland, it'll be a bout between two wrestlers who are ranked. Columbia has Nick Fine or Spencer Fine listed, but I believe it's going to be Nick Fine who's going to go for Columbia. You mentioned right before we went on the air, big match. Why?
Yeah, well, Nick comes in ranked, nationally ranked 30th by Intermat. And he hasn't wrestled in a couple weeks. So he did not wrestle at Vegas, which I had mentioned previously. Like, both these teams were out in Vegas a couple weeks back. Really tough tournament, but they didn't wrestle Nick in that. So it's kind of his first week back after a huge win he had against Michigan over a top 20 ranked opponent. But Ross McFarland's he's a really solid wrestler. He's tough. He was an EIWA place winner last year. So he's ranked 27th in the country by Flow Wrestling. So two ranked opponents. Nick's kind of coming off some time, and I don't know if these guys have faced each other that I know of in their past. So it'll be a good one for both.
You mentioned that win against Michigan for Nick Fine. He was named Ivy League Wrestler of the Week on November the 19th. Finished the weekend 2-0, win against Michigan and Cleveland State. McFarland is one of 4 team captains for Hofstra. He has outscored opponents 15-0 in 4 dual matches this season. So a good bout here at 184.
A bunch of wins, 15-0. That says one thing, and that's that you're good on top. So that's something I'm sure that these coaches have game planned for, and we'll see when the period changes and Nick gets choice. We'll see if he chooses down or if he kind of wants to avoid McFarland's best position. But Nick's long and lanky. He was a 174 pounder. He wrestled for wrestled for Columbia at the EIWAs 2 years ago. He took a gap year last year just to develop and keep getting better. And he's grown a good bit. He's filled in at 184 really well and likes to wrestle hard. Also pretty good on top.
Finally, junior out of Cumberland, Rhode Island. McFarland's a grad student. A lot of veterans on this Hofstra roster out of Pennville, New York.
Yeah, again, McFarland's just pretty solid. I'm excited to see him on top. New York State finalist as a senior. Wrestled for the legendary Gene Mills. Kind of a legend in the wrestling world. He's also a scrambler. Nick's a very good scrambler, but that's also how Ross, likes to score a good bit. So,
bit of a slow start to this one. You'd say about even builds for both Fine and McFarland, as McFarland kind of eyeing a shot there. Just a little bit of head defense and hand fighting thus far through the first 90 seconds.
Yeah, they're feeling each other out. McFarland with a kind of a half shot, keeping Nick honest. Nice sweep single. Nick squares up, just gets lifted. Nick got that arm trapped right there, which is a huge kind of checkpoint in this position for Nick. He wants to keep that arm trapped. And this might end in a stalemate. Yep. Because McFarland, he lifts him because he knows that if he goes down on the mat there, Nick might end up capitalizing because his arm is trapped.
Fine was upright for a long time there as we enter the final minute. Still no score in this one. A tech fall victory for Jack McGill at 174, which got Columbia its first points of the duel.
Yeah, Jack did a good job coming back out after that. A tough loss that Caesar took, It kind of came down to the last 20 seconds of the match. A scramble between Caesar Elvin and Mosher, and Mosher came out on top. It was a kind of a strategic, match between two guys that knew each other well, two ranked opponents, and then Jack McGill came out, found a way to get a tech fall for the team. So that was big. And for Jack's a stingy wrestler. He's really strong, but he doesn't always throw up tech fall type points. So I think he had to kind of get outside himself and just say, I'm going to put my offense out there as much as I can and go get that tech fall for the team. And that's what he did. So props to him on that.
First period ends. Columbia's 1-2 in duels this season with a win over Cleveland State, losses to number 9 Michigan and Indiana. Hofstra 2-2 in duels this season. Wins over Duke and Sacred Heart. We were talking about North Carolina a little bit before we came on the air for your former assistant at Gardner-Webb down in Boiling Springs, North Carolina. If you know where that is, all the props to you for our viewers.
Yeah. Yeah, North Carolina wrestling. A little different, than I'd say, than East Coast, but kind of fun to talk about for sure.
And you wanted to see this McFarland on top here to start the second period.
Yeah, and he's working. He's working hard. Broke Nick down a little bit. Nick did a good job bellying up. Wow, nice cartwheel out. Scramble position. High man wins. Got his head up. Nick got his head up and kept that far ankle until he was ready to pop out and score. So, nice job there.
2 points awarded to Nick Fine, one for McFarland. It's an escape point.
Nick's heavy on the head here. He's kind of like getting inside tie a lot. McFarland seems like he's a little bit more comfortable over the top. Oh, yep. But not a committed shot from either guy yet.
2-point reversal. 5.
There we go.
So that was the 2 points awarded. Fine looking to go down low. McFarland doing a nice job on defense. We've seen Fine trying to get some quick offense here. The two just tied up here.
Yeah, McFarland hit that righty sweep twice. The first time I misspoke. The first period, he did get him pretty deep on that righty single, and then Nick did a good job squaring up. He sent that righty single out there again this time, but didn't get in as deep, so.
Stalls. McFarland searches for a shot.
Nick's being patient. He's going forward. He's kind of making contact over and over, but hasn't gotten in through on the legs. McFarland keeping good head position, staying in a good stance, not over pursuing, kind of letting Nick come to him.
Fine went for a shot. McFarland stares him down, nothing there. 5 seconds to go here in the second period. The pace is slowly increased here as we end the second. What have you seen defensively from both these guys? It seems like no real legit shot has obviously landed. Obviously, you see on the scoreboard, but what have you seen defensively from both guys?
Yeah, I think they're just keeping pretty good head-hands position. Staying in a nice low stance, and they're not really finding angles. They gotta. If you're trying to go through a guy's head and hands, you're gonna have a hard time getting to the legs. So you kind of got to pass those by in some way to find an angle and use your ties to do that. And I think it's probably more of a risk management thing right now. They don't want to make the mistake early in the match. Both these guys are good scramblers. So Nick did.
Fine.
Nick found a way to re-attack. He obviously really wants to get his leg in. He's a very good rider on top with legs. But he did get the 5 count. When he dropped down to the leg, the official starts counting. That's kind of an automatic count. And Nick ended up being down there below the hips for 5 seconds. So that's why the stall call.
Yeah, earlier, Fine did a good job. He's been elevated 3 times now in this match. And he did a nice job sticking his left leg in between McFarland's legs just to try and stall McFarland a little bit. Was able to spin around. Whistle blew, though. See Fine again, this time going with his right leg.
McFarland in a good, what I call kind of a butt-up, stand-up, quad pod is a really common position in college wrestling. A lot of bottom guys just kind of do that quad pod butt-up, find hand position. But now Nick has wrist control and a leg in.
He's got his leg.
And that's a tough position for a bottom man to wrestle from. So this is exactly what Nick wants. McFarland did a great job getting back up.
He's got a good grip on McFarland. One leg hook trying to spin all the way around.
He's got that cradle locked up. Let's see if he can take him over. McFarland's really basing out hard.
Fine aggressive, trying to bring that left knee up to McFarland's head.
McFarland left his, when he's trying to get back to that butt-up stand-up, he just let his head get a little too close to his knee.
Approaching a pivotal point here in riding time, too close to a minute here for Nick Fine.
Yeah, this is exactly what he's trying to do. Lock in that ride time point, put himself up essentially now. And the official with a stalemate call, which, Columbia fans don't like, but I think it's probably a fairly standard call at that point because Nick just secured, he just got to his 1 minute of ride time. A lot of time the officials, will give the bottom man another chance once the top guy kind of gets that minute ride time.
Seemed like McFarland kind of got stuck there, and to the displeasure of the Columbia crowd, very intimate setting here at the Blue Gym. Sees Nick Fine up a couple of points. See that right leg again of Fine knocking down McFarland.
Yeah, Nick's long, and he's really he's got a mat return though here. He's got a warning already.
McFarland escapes.
We got 4 seconds, 3. Nice job.
And because it's 2-2 and the advantage in the riding time to Nick Fine, he's going to earn himself a win. So back-to-back victories here for Columbia. And you mentioned it, both the hyped-up matches, it seems like, have really lived up to the billing. That was a really solid match, nice and close. Obviously, we love offense, but really good technical work there from both wrestlers.
Yeah, McFarland did a good job of kind of figuring that out at the end. I mean, he kept moving down there the whole period. Nick put on a really tough ride, and there was some close moments, but McFarland ended up getting escape, kind of figuring it out at the end, and then just didn't have enough time to get any offense going on his feet. But, yeah, ranked victory for